know they say the customer's always right, but sometimes
They're not.
They're not. And I've really struggled to hold my tongue and not say how it was.
I think that's the East London in you.
I think it is. I think it is. I'd be like, just off, you're not happy. My kids were growing up, and that kind of made me take a bit of a step back. And then doing the yoga as well, I was working the same hours that you were doing.
Yeah.
You know, we bought all the bell tents and we did all the camping as well, put the campsite on,
them up
and it was just long hours, and I was like, there's more to life.
If you could have staffed the George in a different way, where you were...
We'd probably still be there.
Yeah.
We just felt like it was just getting, after COVID, it just got more and more difficult. You know, I get emotional when I talk about him because he was with us from the start.
Really?
Yeah, and we miss him.
This is a big thing to shut down. I can't imagine making the decision to shut.
It's hard. It is hard because although I wanted to, it was really emotional at the same time because it was saying goodbye to a big part of our life. It was a relief at the same time because of the outgoings and the bills and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, it was sad.
Yeah. We've got Claire Rawdon from the previous landlady of the George and the Dragon in Hagworthingham, which is a village which is located, ironically, about the same distance as the Ashby outside of Horncastle, I'd probably say. I think you've been through a bit of a journey with that. You've now set up a yoga business, which I know Ellie said is amazing and stuff like that. So we'd really like to just, first of all, talk about the hospitality side, talk about the yoga business, the differences, and go through a bit of it all, to be honest.
Absolutely.
All over, it is, I'm going to admit it, it's 10:30, so we've gone for a half.
Cheers.
So yeah, we nearly went for 0, but we thought a half would be better. And we're drinking Victoria Malaga. So cheers, which is a brilliant lager.
Oh, that is good.
Annoyingly, they shortened the percentage, which you probably know a little bit about what's happening in the industry. They went from 4.8 to 4.4. Loads of beers have done it, haven't they? But yeah.
Nice.
So just a little bit about your journey. Obviously, you're not from Horncastle or Hagworthingham.
No.
Whereabouts are you from?
So I'm from East London originally.
Nice.
Grew up there, moved around quite a lot. Parents had pubs.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, they were relief managers. So I grew up in the pub industry, absolutely hated it.
Oh, really?
And said I would never run a pub. And then moved to Portugal after a divorce, my first marriage, and met my current husband who had a restaurant in Portugal.
Really?
So I was out there for 11 years.
Yeah.
So we run that restaurant together. He was already well established.
So James is chef. Sorry, husband's James, isn't it?
Yeah.
So James is chef in the restaurant in Portugal.
No, he just owns it. He's got chefs. He's got a full team, and it's flying. And then I come along and I go in the kitchen to help out. Yeah. Because we're doing, 300 plus covers a night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Proper then. So did you have any kitchen experience before that?
Just bitting and bobbing, just like a bit of cooking,
and
nothing. No, I didn't have a qualification, but just liked cooking.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably the same as me and Laura, to be honest. We never went to any culinary colleges or anything like that, but in terms of when we're at home, we probably all feel like we're chefs a little bit.
Absolutely.
So yeah, okay. So in East London, did you do much hospitality stuff whilst you were there?
Not really. I poured a few pints in a few pubs. But mainly I sort of worked in offices. I was in compliance for a really long time for a big bank, and I did that. And then
so that's like polar opposite.
Yeah, total opposite. Then I trained to be a hairdresser. I'm one of them. I like to change a lot. Trained to be a hairdresser and then a florist, and didn't quite know what I wanted, and then went off travelling for a couple of years.
James.
And then that was, a bit later on when I met James. Yeah.
So the restaurant in Portugal, where was it?
It was in the Algarve in a little town called Armacel de Pera.
And what made you think, let's go back to England then? Was there...
So I had my 2 boys and I had a really tough time, postnatal depression and stuff like that. And I'll be totally honest, I did have a bit of a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
And we were surrounded just by staff, no family, and because of the nature of the business, it's just long hours, 24/7. There was no support, and so I felt like I needed to come home. And also the education, like when we looked into the education, the preschools and that were great.
Yeah.
But the schools later on, not so.
How old were your boys at this stage?
So Jack was 4 and Harry was 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously we're at that end of the age of children, I suppose. Tallulah's 2.5, B's about to turn 1. And I know how difficult that is. And we've got mum and dad next door. Laura's mum's and uncle and, you know, father are in literally Louth way. And I know still how hard it is to like work in this business, and so I can't imagine doing it without them.
Yeah.
I mean, Laura's painting the pub today, Tallulah's at nursery, B's with the cousin, so we're sort of, and I'm obviously here having a beer with you. So I know how, I don't know how hard it must have been, to be honest, because we're very lucky to have that support bubble, but I can also imagine how hard it would be, if that makes sense.
It was tricky, you know, we had to put him in creche from the age, I think Jack went in when he was 6 months, and as a mum, that was really tough. And I started to resent it as well. And I resented not seeing James, because I was at home with the kids on my own. I was going stir crazy, and then all these emotions, new mum and all of that kind of thing, it was tough.
I think people, definitely more recently, but people are talking about it a little bit more and just how difficult it is. But I think years ago it used to almost be brushed under the carpet, like everyone would be expected to just be a good parent. We, you know, being really transparent, like we really struggle. Like we're very business focused, and obviously we love our children and stuff like that, but sometimes we're probably a little bit too focused on the business, and we have to sort of rain check ourselves. Obviously we're in the middle of opening something, we have to rain check ourselves to go, right, cool, let's focus a little bit on the family sort of thing. And that's bad to say, really, isn't it?
Well, but that's what happens. When we first took over the George and Dragon, that's how we were, and we were all guns a-blazing, right, we're going to make this work, we're going to give it a go. But then when COVID hit, that's when I had a change of heart, and I was like, life's quite short.
So just going back a little bit then, so obviously you wanted to get back to England.
So we came back.
So is James from around here?
James is from Borough. Burley Marsh.
Burley Marsh.
Burley Marsh, I mean, I say Burley Marsh, but
I don't actually know, I might be wrong. There'll be someone.
I say Burley Marsh, it's not Burley Marsh, it's Croft actually. That's where he's from, Croft. So, and his sister and his mum are in Skegness.
So that was the driving force.
Yeah, so he said he wasn't really willing to come back. We were all sorted, you know, we had the restaurant, we had a beautiful villa, we had a very nice life. And obviously he wanted to keep the family together and everything else. So he said the compromise is we come back this way.
At least Lincolnshire's quite reasonably priced. I imagine coming back from there and moving into London, which I guess in your family's down that way still.
My family's still down there,
So that's quite, that's a much more expensive move back, I imagine.
And I said, okay, fair enough, let's go. We did go back down to Essex for a couple of years. We moved here, we were here 2 years, moved back to Essex for 2 years.
What year was this, just out of interest?
Oh, do you know what? I don't know. When did we come and take the pub on? 2018, so we came back 2013. So it's probably about 2015.
So you jumped about a bit. It sounds like you probably weren't quite settled.
No, got back to Essex and like, what have we done?
Really?
It's changed so much. I'd been away for like 11 years. And it just wasn't the environment that I wanted the kids to grow up in. And I much preferred Lincolnshire, although at the time when we were leaving Lincolnshire, I'd absolutely hated it. And I was like, it's too slow, I'm old before my time, I'm wearing leggings every day, I've got to get out. It was just a bit like that, really.
It's funny because obviously I met Laura down that way, Hertfordshire way, and then we moved back, and I'd been up here, and when I moved to Hertfordshire I was exactly the same. I was like, oh my God, I hate it around here, there's nothing going on. We then met Laura, and obviously when we came back again and I'd sort of worked in London and stuff like that, I was like, I was really struggling with it. It's too busy, the traffic around here is the worst you get is some roadworks and a tractor or something like that, really. And then when you get stuck in traffic, you find yourself like London traffic again now, going back to it, I just found myself like angry. And I was like, I've never been like this, so I think once you get used to it around here, it's amazing. It is really hard to move away though, I think. Okay, so there was obviously a point where the George and the Dragon came up. Were you down in Essex at that time?
So we were down in Essex, and the friends that we'd made here before we went, said to us, the pub's coming up for sale, the lease is coming up for sale. Is it something that you would think about? And at the time I was wedding planning for a big hotel.
I was going to say you're in hospitality. And...
Yeah, so I was doing some weddings. And James was working at the hotel as well. He was assistant general manager there, and we hated it. And it was like, let's do it. Yeah. I always said I didn't want to go into a pub because I grew up in them. But yeah.
I think there is pubs and there's pubs though, isn't there? Yeah. I don't know what sort of pubs you grew up in, but I imagine like East London's like proper, I mean, I don't know what years we're talking about, but there's proper boozers and stuff like that.
Proper boozers,
is that what
the old boys had all their Roger money in their back pocket, it was just...
I mean, I'd love to go back and have a beer in them, but in terms of like...
It's changed though.
Yeah.
So you don't get boozers like that
No.
You don't.
It's a dying art, I think. And even like the landlords in London, I think you met all the landlords and stuff like that. And again, that's something that's gone. There's not... If you walk in a pub, there's no chance in London, there's no chance you're meeting the owner. No,
you're not. And most of them are like chain owned, aren't they? So they put managers in and they change, I think, on a regular basis.
Yeah. They lose a bit of the heart, I think, which is years ago. It was very much the heart was the landlord.
Family, yeah.
I think there's still a little bit of that around Lincolnshire.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And hopefully that doesn't go anywhere, but there are some companies that are obviously buying pubs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of a journey. So when you thought about the George and the Dragon then, and the boys growing up, I presume you went to see it?
We went and had a look round, and I thought, look, the school's great. They're upstairs, so I can maybe manage it a little bit more. So we went for it. And
so is the pub, just in terms of the structure, was it a leasehold?
So yeah, so
you bought the lease.
Originally when we went in, I think it was someone like New River or one of the other pub companies, and we got bought out. I think it was 2 or 3 times they got bought out until Admiral Taverns owned it. Yeah.
So 2018.
Yeah.
So in the time you were renting it, it changed.
Yeah.
Amongst these companies.
Yes.
So for those that are viewing this, I'm just going to address the camera now, but for those that are viewing this that don't know these structures, and you'll probably know a lot more than me, to be honest, but there's big pub companies that their business is just renting pubs out.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily selling beer or anything, but did they tie you up?
The only thing we were tied in with was the beer.
Okay.
But we could buy our wine and our soft drinks and everything else and our spirits anywhere we wanted, but we were just tied in with the beers.
So when you signed your contract originally with whichever company it was, were you tied in with like Green King, or was there a company that...
So it was, I think it was New River. I'm trying to think. I can't remember. Or was it LT Management? I'm not sure. Changed. They were just a big chain.
They're probably all linked in one way or another, and that's why they change them around.
Yeah.
Someone... I thought this would be a really interesting conversation because quite a few people that view the channel, they see it. There's not a lot of hospitality stuff on YouTube, and we're doing it. And there's a few people that message and say, we're looking at renting a pub, or, they've seen it, and we always try and be as positive as possible about the industry. You and I both know how challenging it is. But a lot of people, like someone came in and they said, we're looking at renting a pub. And it was I won't go into details of which company, but it was one of the big companies, and I was a bit like, I don't really know enough to say anything about it, but I obviously have heard a lot of stories, so I don't know, obviously we'll get into it, but I thought it would be interesting to sort of dive into the ins and outs of what these are actually like, if that's all right with you.
That's fine.
Obviously.
To be fair, up until Admiral took over, Admiral were really good to deal with.
Yeah.
They left us alone, basically. As long as we hit our barrelage and paid our rent, they were absolutely fine.
Okay. So let's just talk a little bit about that. So barrelage, again, there's probably going to be some terminology that we use that people won't know. So barrelage is, in short, it's just how much stock the pub sells. So what the brewery will do is they'll group it up. So whether it's Coca-Cola or J2Os or Coke, that all goes into your barrelage. So it isn't just how many barrels you sell, although a barrel is 1 barrel. Yeah. You can also contribute to that barrelage as whatever you sell on the bar, I think. Or was yours different because you weren't tied on the wine?
I think it was just barrels for us, yeah.
So how many was it? Can you remember?
I can't, because James kind of dealt with that side of things, really. But after COVID, we definitely saw a decrease in trade.
Right.
Hence why we ended up shutting at lunchtimes and only opening over the weekends, because that just died a death.
So what happened if you didn't heat your barrelage?
To be fair, they were fair. They were okay. They never really pushed us. They come and see us, and they were like, "Why? What can we do to help?
Okay.
Do you need a bit of help with marketing?"
Yeah.
But to be fair, they were really understanding that those countryside pubs
were struggling.
So they never really put the pressure on.
Sorry if you don't know the answer to this, but in terms of in the contract, like obviously they've been really understanding, which is great, but would your rent hypothetically move up and down based on your barrelage?
So
if they held you to contract?
No.
Okay, fine.
No, so we were at a set rent,
yeah,
and then it would be reviewed every couple of years.
Okay.
And then I would get it at a fair, maintainable rent. And to be fair, in all the time we were there, it never changed.
Okay, amazing.
They were really understanding.
It's a funny period, isn't it, with COVID and everything? I guess they had to.
It was right at that time we came in, and then
you were a year before us, I suppose. We were end of 2019, and feels like yesterday, but actually it's quite a long time ago now.
Yeah, what is
isn't
it? 7 years, something like that.
Yeah. So so it sounds like in terms of the company, especially Admiral Taverns, which obviously own a lot of pubs. I think they've got a few in Horncastle and Coningsby and things like that. We're quite good.
We found them easy to work.
Because you hear lots of horror stories.
Loads of horror stories. I mean, some of the other companies. Sorry to interrupt, but some of the other companies. I mean, they were, I wouldn't say brutal, but they just didn't care. Didn't care. There was no relationship there. But with Admiral and our business development managers, they were spot on.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like I've always thought,
got to work together.
I've always thought, I would love to own a pub, be able to rent it out to somebody who's really passionate about it, and sort of help them where I could. And in terms of whatever, just so that we can keep more pubs on the map. Do you know what I mean? And I think if you're in the business of renting pubs, which they are, it makes sense for them to help everyone. Yeah. As much as possible. But there's so many horror stories.
Oh, there's loads.
So okay. So in terms of like the early years, then was James? What was the sort of structure? Was James cooking? Were you in the kitchen?
So I was in the kitchen. James was out front.
Amazing.
I'm just not very good with. I say it as it is. Yeah. So I'm probably not best front of house. Yeah. So I was like stuck in the kitchen.
Keep me out of the way.
Keep me out of the way, and I'm happy in there.
That's Dad, to be fair. Yeah. Dad always struggled with. You've probably heard, but Dad always struggles with like customers if they're sometimes not even doing anything wrong, and he would be a bit short with them. But I think that's the old school mentality.
Yeah,
maybe.
I just I know they say the customer's always right, but sometimes
they're not.
They're not. And I've really struggled to hold my tongue and not say how it was.
I think that's the East London in you.
I think it is. It'd be like, just off. You're not happy, do one. I'm not even going to entertain you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So, how was it? Like the menu and stuff like that? Obviously, starting from scratch, like.
Yeah, so we kept the old menu going for a little while, and we just wanted to see how things worked because we took on all the staff as well.
Oh wow, yeah.
So obviously we had plans and wanted to make changes, and that was hard. That was hard coming into somewhere new and people used to the way it was and making those changes. You get a bit of resistance. And I'm sure. I think I had a couple of comments like you and your London ideas, and it wasn't that. I just wanted to bring that love back into the pub. It hadn't been touched for 13 years, and the previous owners had done, leasehold owners had done a really, great job. But obviously we wanted to put our stamp on it, and I just felt like it just needed that little bit of love and care and attention. And so I think people sort of found that a little bit tricky. But then once they got used to it,
I imagine you built. I mean, from what I can remember, and apologies, but I imagine you built the business, the business increased and things like that. Yeah. I mean, you definitely, for me, you put it on the map for us. I mean, me and Laura came quite a lot when we were like taking the dogs for a walk. So we used to walk all around the back there, which is really, really nice. Our old Spaniel Ollie, unfortunately. But yeah, we always used to go around the back there and stop for lunch or a drink or, whatever. And I always felt that I didn't really know it was there until you guys had it. So I think you definitely put it on the map.
Yeah.
which is credit to you, and obviously you're passionate about it and everything else. What's the what did you feel that? It's really difficult when you go into a village, especially if you're from not round here.
Yeah.
Because, but I mean, when we took over, I always said I want to bring a little bit of London to Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Lincolnshire is a little bit behind. I mean, when you started making your changes, what was the sort of biggest changes that maybe people didn't respond as well as you'd hoped to? Can you remember anything in terms of examples?
Well, no, not really. I mean, they just accepted it in the end. I think it was like, oh, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? And, you know, there was always questions. And with the menu, you know, like they'd look at the menu and it'd be, you know, and then once they tried it, there was, I can't think of anything in particular, but it was just, you just felt that little bit of resistance sometimes.
Village pubs, Lincolnshire, it is one of them, and I think, well, we're going to go through it. I think everyone's really supportive at the minute, but I'm sure there's going to be things where.
But there was just an equal amount of people that wanted to see the change and were really happy and just, you know, really pleased and positive. There were just, you know, just a few people.
So, obviously, in terms of we'll just go into a little bit about the buying structure and stuff like that. So, you were tied on your beer? Yeah. So, did it get delivered by the people that owned it, or was it through a Bateman's or small
Marston's,
beer? Oh, Marston's. Yeah. Okay. So you're tied on that. Did you remember at the time sort of the pricing and stuff like that would being more expensive than you were expecting, or?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, we never did, but we know that you could buy a barrel from small beer, for example, a hell of a lot cheaper than we were buying our barrels. But obviously, we were tied. Yeah. So we couldn't do that because they hold. Yeah. So, as to what it was off the top of my head, I'm not really sure because, like I say, James.
They didn't limit you in terms of what you sold it at.
No.
Because I know some of them do that as well.
No.
So so you could sell it where you want.
Yeah.
So again, we've had comments where people are like, are you freehold, are you leasehold, are you managed, are you, you know, and I think understanding the difference between all of these structures is really difficult. But one of the biggest, I don't want to say hurdles rather than issues, is often you have to pay a little bit more for the beer because I think they get a kickback. So again, I don't know if you know any of this, but I think whatever they give to Marston's will then give them a percentage back. So they're getting a rent.
Right, okay.
And then they get a kickback from Marston's or Green King or whoever supplies the pubs. When you're free house, like us, we can actually get that kickback from small beer.
Right, okay.
So there's a huge difference. Huge difference. We can pay a little bit less for the beer, which hopefully in turn, excuse me. So we can pay a little bit less for the beer, which hopefully in turn means that, you know, the beer prices stay a bit cheaper, you stay a bit busier, but also you can get retros and stuff for committing lines.
Yeah.
I think in the end they get the money back because they end up putting the beer prices up and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's a really different structure. So I can imagine that being a bit of a challenge. Can you remember what your GP might have been, what you worked out in terms of where you priced stuff and things like that?
No, I can't. I mean, that was James's forte.
Yeah,
it was.
No drama. That's all right. So in terms of sort of going through COVID and everything, then obviously, without dwelling on it too much, because I like to think it's a thing of the past, but who knows what's around the corner. What did you first think when we hit COVID and we got closed?
Panic, because I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Are they going to kick us out? Well, we just didn't know, and no one was really saying anything because no one really knew anything.
So you were living above the pub at the time?
Yeah, we were living above the pub. We always stayed above the pub, to be fair, because of the kids. Yeah. And it was just easy to have them upstairs while we were working.
Yeah.
It was tough, and then it was like, right, what are we going to do to keep ourselves going?
Did they decrease rent?
They did give us a reduction, but I think there was I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think then at the end there was the remainder was then put over
the top.
Yeah.
So again, every company was really different. Some just said, don't worry about it, we'll start trading, and then I think they ended up putting the rents up. Some of them allowed them no rent. I mean, we were in a really, say unfortunate, we were in a, I would say we were in an unfortunate position in that time because we actually rented from mum and dad.
Right.
So that was their sole income.
Yeah.
So we couldn't not pay the rent because they wouldn't have been able to survive. So we ended up all through COVID paying full rent.
Right.
So every single month, which was just, when you look back at it, it's crazy.
It is,
But in the end, they put that rent on top of your existing then, did they?
Yeah,
so they logged it.
They kind of reduced it to help you out, and then at the end I think it was put on eventually over time.
Yeah.
But we changed dynamics, so we went to Meals on Wheels and we started delivering meals, and James went out and worked on the lorries.
See, I remember, I knew he got back into it. I wasn't sure what stage, so he went back to HGV driving sort of thing. Yeah. And then when you come out of COVID, then obviously your Meals on Wheels stopped. And did James carry on?
He carried on for a little while, just to make sure. We just wanted to have that little bit of extra and everything, security. And then he came back. I went off and trained for yoga. I
was going to say, I knew it was coming, but I didn't know at what point.
So that's when I went off and trained to be a teacher, because I was like, if something like this happened again, you know, we're very vulnerable. All our eggs are in one basket.
Yeah.
So not only do we live above the pub, we have the business, and we're both employed by that business. Yeah. And it was really stressful times, and I was like, I want to be able to...
Another string to your bow.
Yeah. So that's when the yoga was born, really. And
Did you do, just going into this a bit, so yoga, is this just what was the big pulling factor?
So I started that in Portugal.
Oh,
So when I was feeling unwell...
I was thinking you might,
I found a really great yoga teacher in Portugal, Hilary Shenton. She was amazing. And it just helped a lot. So whenever I feel stressed, I always go, I teach it now, but I go back to it because it does really help me.
It's like meditation, I suppose.
Yeah.
I must admit, as like an ex-rugby player and now pub landlord, I've done it once in my life, but I really struggled with it. Yeah. I'm not that flexible. I'm even less flexible now. But I think in terms of like, from what I can gather, it's really, really good for like the head and the meditation.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's good for everything, really. Just moving the body. I mean, I teach in a very, very different way. I'm not all Sanskrit names and airy fairy spiritually. No, that's not me. And I can't try and be that person.
Yeah.
So what you get with me is just...
That's probably more up my street.
Yeah.
I've been in there and there's certain things going on, sounds and all the rest of it, and I don't know, it all just feels a little bit, it's not...
Strange.
Yeah.
So we do have a laugh in class, you know, not everyone's flexible, and I do swear, you know, it's just one of those things. And
sounds like a proper yoga class.
Yeah, it's a proper yoga class.
So what? So obviously you started training. You still had the pub. There's a few. Just out of interest, what year did you end up? You've only not long been out, have you?
No. Pub? So we came out in May.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I knew it was recent, but I couldn't put my finger on if it was sort of in the last 12 months. So, all right, let's rewind a little bit. So you come out of COVID, you start doing yoga.
Yeah.
James is HGV training.
Yeah.
The business has decreased a little bit in terms of
lunchtimes.
Right.
Lunchtimes really dropped off.
What do you think that was? Why do you think that was?
I don't know. I don't really know. And also, I think our mindset changed, and we kind of not gave up, but we were still trying, but maybe not as hard.
Do you know what?
I just think
I 100% relate to that. So before, I mean, this is really bad, but like before COVID, I worked ridiculous amounts of hours. Like I think I was working some weeks I was doing over 100 hours.
Yeah.
Like I was opening the pub, closing.
Yeah.
Do you know, we were doing breakfast, like mum was cleaning rooms, like everything. And we hit COVID, and the business grew so much that I sort of lost track of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I really didn't love it. I was really struggling with it. And if it wasn't for Laura, probably around about that time, I don't know what I would have done, because she went the opposite way, because she was practicing as an osteopath before COVID.
Yeah.
When we then reopened, she then went pretty much full time as, you know, as part of the director team sort of thing. And So I think Laura sort of saved us a little bit, because I don't know if it was just the slowing down of COVID and then trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think the driving force was behind it? Do you think it was the fact that COVID slowed you down a little bit and you just thought...
I think so, and I think sort of evaluated everything a little bit different. I mean, I've got some years on you, Harry. I'm 50, so...
We don't look 50, I must admit.
51
I'm not just saying that either.
So I think my kids were growing up, and that kind of made me take a bit of a step back, and then doing the yoga as well. And I was like, I was working the same hours that you were doing.
Yeah.
You know, we bought all the bell tents, and we did all the camping as well, put the campsite on. And it was just long hours. And I was like, there's more to life.
Yeah.
And for us, it was, right, this is when we're going to put it on the market and see if we can sell that lease, because we want to have quality time, and we were then thinking, do we want to go back abroad and live that lifestyle?
Oh, wow.
So that's where we ended up putting it on the market.
So
and COVID was a big factor.
driving force behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely, the challenges are ridiculous. I think the risk to reward, the amount of landlords and landladies that I know that have like calculated their hourly wage sometimes at the end of the month, and you think,
what am I doing?
yeah, it's crazy. But then we do it because, most of us do it because of passion and all the rest of it. So, okay, so in terms of, this is quite interesting as well, and anyone who's watching who might not understand this, it's a slightly different way of selling a business, isn't it? So in terms of the sale, because you're leasing it, you're actually selling the business, but I think the building went up as well, didn't it?
Yeah, so basically,
so Admiral decided.
We spoke to them, said to them that we wanted to put the lease up for sale, and we were right at the point where we were renewing that lease.
Okay, so...
And so we had a very old-fashioned lease.
Okay.
So it was an automatic renewal. So we were in discussions with that.
So was it 7 years then?
So we had 7 years left on that lease. Or was it 8 years when we bought it? I can't remember. But there was not very much time left on the lease. But we knew that. But the reason we took it on is because we knew it was an automatic renewal.
Yeah.
So we thought, great, because we're going to get 20, 25 years. So that's going to be more sellable. So we were in discussions with that. And then we had it up for sale for a bit.
So was this just the lease you had up for sale?
Just the lease up for sale, and then they came to us and they said that they were putting most of their country pubs or seaside pubs on the market.
Okay.
Which then triggered a clause in our lease.
Right.
So then that's when negotiations started. So as soon as they put that freehold up for sale, there was negotiations with us to buy us out of that lease.
Oh, so actually, I think this is quite positive.
It was a very positive thing for us.
Very lucky in terms of, because there's, again, I know a lot of people that have come out of these and they
have nothing.
Yeah, and actually they ended up with massive debts because they've had to spend stuff on the building. Was it a
So we were self-repairing.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
we were a self-repairing lease. But we maintained it. I mean, we did a lot of work.
You did more
than normal, and even up to the day that we signed everything over, James was still painting bedroom walls, just because we'd moved furniture and it had scuffed and stuff like that. I mean, and they did say to us it was the cleanest and the most well-maintained pub they'd ever taken back from somebody. But we wanted to make sure that they were going to hand over the agreed deposit and the funds that we had agreed to sell for. Yeah.
No, a friend of mine had a pub, without going into details, it was his father's, then it was his, and like in the end I think the roof needed doing, so I think it cost him considerable amounts to just get out of the lease fairly. So I think in terms of timings and stuff, then that worked quite well.
It worked really well for us.
So what's going on now then with the George? Have they sold it, or?
Well, they've had a lot of interest. I believe there's a community
amazing
buyout. I was hoping you was going to take it on. They were going to take a reduction in offer. When that's why I contacted you to say, are you interested? Because I think you would have just turned it into something amazing. With the drive and that you and Laura have got.
It's got the land and stuff.
And it's got the land. I know. I thought if they got this, it would be perfect. But you were already too far with the Ashby. So.
Yeah, there's we looked at loads, we really did, and by the end of it we sort of realised what was going to work and what wasn't. Loads of people were saying that we should have bought the one in Belchford and things like that, and which is an amazing pub, really, really nice. But in terms of the business model that we have, we're really limited. I mean, the Ashby's still a risk, obviously any business purchase is, but in terms of like, I feel like it was lower than a lot of the other ones we looked at, but we were definitely way too far along. I think we ended up, we were buying it for 10 months or something before we even started talking about it. So, okay, so you've, so they bought you out effectively.
Yeah, so they give us like what they call a goodwill gesture, and they're trying to sell it. So I think there's a thing for a community buyout, I believe, and but they've had lots and lots of interest. So there's a caretaker in there at the moment looking after it. So
is it open?
It's not open.
Oh, so literally just
literally shut it, put a caretaker in there just to keep. No, so there's someone on site. He doesn't have to maintain or anything like that, which is a shame really, because we left it in a real good way. But
there's a lot of companies that literally just go around renting these vacant pubs at really, really low rents, which is an interesting business model. That's digressing slightly. So obviously at this point, because it's only May, which is a couple of months ago, I presume your yoga business is sort of set up.
Yes, so now I'd already set that up alongside it. So I teach for Magnavita and Jubilee Park.
Magnavita is the one in Horncastle.
Yeah. And Jubilee, and then I have privates and then little individual classes going as well, and trying to move that online, YouTube and stuff like that.
It's really good. And in terms of the business and like how do you feel it is in comparison to hospitality? Are you at peace with the sort of hours, or are you still
100%?
Oh yeah.
So like I do, I don't know, maximum 20 hours a week.
Oh really? Yeah.
And so I've got time, like I've got one boy who's on an apprenticeship, so I've got time for him. My youngest is the last year at school this year. So it's just, and having our evenings and weekends. We never had that. And being able to do things. We went to James's brother's 60th a couple of weeks ago, and we would either have to shut the pub, but to be honest, that was normally a no-go. It was only after COVID that we started saying yes to things, because prior to that I'd missed cousins' weddings, friends' big birthdays, and I said I'm not doing it anymore.
Mum and Dad definitely went through that. I mean, I think I probably learn a little bit from that in terms of what I didn't want to do. We always tried our best to build so we could employ, and it's really difficult. It's impossible to do, to be honest. Mum and Dad never did it. You know, they worked every hour under the sun. We obviously were a bit like that in the early days, and we're still working a lot of hours, but we're not as much on service, which helps a lot in terms of childcare and things like that, as you can probably imagine. But I think, is James still HGVing then? Or?
No, so he set up a gardening business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he's grass cutting, a bit dodgy at the moment.
There's plenty of gardening to do here.
Well, it's not growing, is it, with the no rain and stuff, but so he's doing that, so
that's good.
Touch wood.
So do you think, in terms of if you look back at the period in the George then, what would you do it again? Is there times that you think?
No, I wouldn't do it again, but I don't regret doing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it because our boys had a really nice life.
Yeah.
And they were upstairs, and they had a great school. They've got some really good friends, and we made some really good friends.
Via the pub.
Via the pub. So I don't have any regrets or anything like that, but I wouldn't go back into it. Not now. I've got my evenings and weekends. And the stress, the stress for staff sometimes, they can't help but be sick, but if they were sick, then it's like you're scratching around trying to find staff to cover, and sometimes we were understaffed and it was tricky.
I think around here it's a really difficult location, like in London, for example. There's a lot more people, obviously. There's a lot more people looking for work. It's easier. I keep saying it's easier to get staff. I have no experience in that area in terms of employing in hospitality, but I imagine because the population's more, it's easier to get staff. And here seems to be really difficult, and I think that is a really big driving force as to why. It is,
and the kids have got to be able to drive, otherwise they're relying on parents. I mean, we had a lot of kids that worked for us. that didn't drive, so we took a lot of people on in from the village.
Yeah.
Which was great. But it was hard, you know, and especially with it being open at lunchtime and then closing in between, we did split shifts.
Yeah.
I think that was hard, them driving backwards and forwards or relying on lifts or the buses. They're not great.
No.
So I think it is quite tricky.
It's funny, well, it's not funny, but it's interesting that you say, like, your memory of the kids growing up, because I have really fond memories of growing up here. And I always loved it as a youngster, and I thought it was amazing. But then at the same time, sometimes people from the outside looking in would think, oh, your parents are always like running the pub and, you know, it's really difficult. But so you obviously have fond memories of the kids growing up in the pub and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And having a lot of time in the grounds and whatever else.
Yeah, you know, their friends would come in for tea and they'd go down, they'd be kicking a ball outside and they'll all be playing, and that was great. And then we'd sit down with them after and have a drink and stuff like that. It was nice. So I have those memories. At the same time, I have some stressful memories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely won't go back.
When you're, I think going back to moving out of Essex and into a village like Hagworthingham, like it's a small place, and I think probably becoming the landlady of the village pub, you couldn't put yourself in a better position in terms of meeting people.
Yeah. It's hard though, putting yourself out there, because everybody wants to know about your life, where you're from, what you do, and I'm quite a private person, and like I find social media hard and getting on there and promoting and stuff like that. I mean, we were never great at it because I know that's the way forward, but because we never grew up with it, and I know it's powerful, but I don't like it very much.
I hate it, to be honest, but like in terms of a perspective of business, like it's really good.
Yeah, it's great.
Mum and Dad are obviously very much the same. We got them on Facebook and Instagram years ago, but yeah, it's really difficult, and it's such a cheap way to market.
It is.
You know, in terms of, I still see magazines coming through the door sometimes, and people are advertising their pubs or restaurants or whatever in local magazines and things. And I just think in terms of the amount of money that costs, versus taking a picture and putting something online.
And it's free.
I mean, when the time we put into it is now getting to a level where it's obviously
a full-time job.
Probably, it's probably actually costing us a fortune.
Yeah.
But no, I think social media is the way forward. So do you think if you could have staffed the George in a different way, where you were,
we'd probably still be there.
Yeah. So do you think the main reasoning behind it all was obviously all to do with staffing?
Yeah, it was just staffing. It was just getting. We just felt like it was just getting, after COVID, it just got more and more difficult. You know, like the energy prices.
Oh my God.
You know, the cost of food. People don't see it, and like our attitude was, we can't say for example, you had a scampi on the menu.
Yeah.
Not many people are going to come and pay 25 quid, which it needed to be priced at for a scampi, when they can have a dinner at home. I mean, family of four coming out having 4 scampis, £100 without their drinks, it's a lot of money. And so then it becomes a treat rather than just, you know, let's go out for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we were struggling with that as well. It was just, everything just got so expensive.
Yeah. I mean, the energy is a massive thing. I think, you know, I think it's still doubled now. But I mean, there was a point where I think people were locking into contracts and it was 4 or 5 times more than what the sort of normal was pre-COVID, which is ridiculous. And it's definitely not anything you can do about that. No. It's completely out of your hands.
And it just like doubled, you know, tripled in price. Yeah. And we were like, bloody hell, you know, how are we going to survive this? But we did. You know, you get through it, don't you? But it was just constant stress.
You end up working for the electric company, basically, which seems mad. Like, you're doing all these hours just to pay your electric bill, just to say survive. So I can completely understand what you sort of went through in terms of the reasoning behind coming out and stuff like that. But it's really interesting. So if anyone viewing wanted to come and see your yoga, they can just book in. Do you have online channels and stuff like that?
Not at the moment. I'm working on that, Harry.
We'll set that up. We'll get it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to push that forward. Like I say, I'm not very good with social media, but I do understand that's the way forward. So I'm trying to build online memberships and stuff like that, that I can move around the world.
The thing is, you don't want to all of a sudden end up putting 80, 90 hours into that.
Exactly, because I'll be absolutely
So you'll be, maybe we won't plug your channels, just to, but it's amazing. But I think in terms of, so there'll be the following of it is very local, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
So there'll be loads of people that know your story and will want to hear this, because I think when you leave a pub, sometimes we put something on social media to say goodbye, and
we didn't. I messaged. We didn't. There was reasons we didn't, which, well, we was asked not to by the pub company, really, because I don't think they wanted to
market that it was empty.
That it was empty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a big caretaker in there.
Yes, he's huge. Very scary, Stan. Lovely fella. But so we didn't want to advertise. So I personally messaged the people that I wanted to message to thank them. And so every message was individual.
Amazing.
Thanking them,
So this is the first thing potentially that will go out in terms of like telling a little bit about the story and everything.
Yeah.
So is there stuff you'd want to say that anyone you might not have messaged?
No, not really. Like, just basically, thank you for visiting the George and Dragon over the years that we were there. We really appreciated it, and it kept our small business going, and we had fantastic staff. All of the staff that we had.
I'm trying to remember the young lad behind the bar.
Liam,
he was
still
wicked.
in contact with Liam and his Mrs. Lizzie. Absolutely fantastic couple. I get emotional when I talk about him because he was with us from the start.
Really?
Yeah, and we miss him.
Oh, bless him.
Because we used to see him every day, and then he went down to part-time because obviously we had to close when the energy crisis went. We closed for 3 months.
Right.
Because we needed to keep afloat and a roof over the kids' head, and that was really hard, letting the staff go. But Liam came back on a part-time basis. And he's just been the most loyal member of staff.
He's
and
only
just
young,
friend.
Isn't he?
Only young, yeah.
How old is he now?
I think they're 27-ish.
Yeah.
I can't think off the top of my head. I should know it, but I don't. But
he's always wicked.
Yeah, really fantastic fella. And like I say, we're still in touch with them. I spoke to them just yesterday, so it's
really?
nice. Yeah, so we've been friends, I think, for a long time.
The challenges that you've gone through as well are just like, it's mental, really. I can't imagine. This is a big thing to shut down. I can't imagine making the decision to shut.
It's hard. It is hard because although I wanted to, it was really emotional at the same time because it was saying goodbye to a big part of our life. It was a relief at the same time because of the outgoings and the bills and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was sad.
Yeah. What's Liam doing now? Does he want a job at the Ashby?
I don't know, ask him. I know he's working full time, but you never know. He might want to top up his
he might watch this and go, I want this to do. But it's been really, really good to have a chat and things like that and go through everything and obviously hear a bit about the journey. I think the podcast and hospitality in general, it's extremely challenging. I don't think everyone sees, obviously it's massive in the news at the minute.
Yep.
2 pubs are shutting every single day.
Well, look at the Wraithby, wasn't it? That one closed. Was there another one just recently, locally?
It's unusual because I think locally, a lot of the pubs that were struggling shut years ago. So I think a lot of them actually shut in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And the ones that survived seem to, I think, survive on a sounds a bit bad, but because there's a lot less in the area now because we lost so many back then.
So it's the only place to go.
Yeah, so I think there's a big survival. There's a lesser closing around here. I think more are closing in the sort of the more built up areas where there's a lot more pubs. Because if the trade drops 30%, then 30% of the pubs drop off the bottom or whatever. So it is interesting, but it's definitely, like I said, the YouTube channel, the podcast and everything has been very, very positive. And I think I wanted to message you delicately. I didn't realise how fresh it was, and just say, did you want to come on? Because I thought it'd be interesting to hear sort of another aspect. Like, we're in the middle of expanding.
Yeah.
And then you've just closed the pub down.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where, and I guess from maybe a selfish perspective, I was a bit like, oh, I'd love to know what happened. But yeah, no, it's been really, really nice to have you on. Is there anything else you'd like to add or anything like that?
No, not really. Just the best of luck with the Ashby, and I'm sure it's going to thrive and do really well. And, you know, good luck to the pair of you. It's brilliant. It's great. And keeping pubs alive, I mean, it's really important for the community.
I hope so. Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it.
That's what I keep thinking. I'm sure it'll be great, but yeah, it does. There's definitely sleepless nights.
I think people also just diverse it, but I don't think people realise the amount that behind the scenes, like with the licences and the costing and the training, you know, with your health and safety and stuff like that. People don't see that. Just, they see that you open your doors and you're charging £7 a pint. They're like, you know, I don't think they see all the stuff behind it and the cost and the hours that we have to put in and the cost to actually run a pub.
Yeah. When you just list it all like that, I don't think I really know. No, but it's definitely one of them. We hope it sort of starts to get to a stage of recovering. Yeah. And who knows, we might get back into it at some point.
Who knows? You never know. You never know.
It's been really nice to have you on.
It's been nice.
I hope you've all enjoyed that episode. It's definitely been really nice to have a half, even if it is the morning with Claire. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks very much.